Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review the first season of the anime series Beastars. So this is currently on Netflix, and so the synopsis is: in a world where beasts coexist, a gentle wolf awakens to his predatory urges as his schoolmates deal with a murder in their midst. Like I said, it's on Netflix. It was originally a manga and now it's an anime series. And so I had originally started watching it a while ago, but for some reason I just lost interest. I picked it up a little bit ago and I actually got into it, and so I finished the first season. So I just wanted to give my review on this, what seems to be a kind of controversial series, and just give my opinions on some of those topics and the overall story. So around here I like to start with my cons, maybe what I felt in the middle, and then my pros, and then my overall thought, and my score or rating for this first season of this show. So to start with my cons, my biggest con and my gripe with shows like this, and the same with movies like Zootopia, is not necessarily the metaphor and trying to represent maybe discrimination or profiling or judging. It's just the way it's delivered and how story makers and creators choose to represent the metaphor. Like, I don't like using animals, and specifically with this story, carnivores versus herbivores, to kind of represent discrimination. I don't know if that's exactly what the creators were trying to get through, but I know with Zootopia that was a thing. And I know, at least the thing I can say with Zootopia, well, let me rewind back. I don't like it because it's just like these animals, like a tiger or a lion does eat a zebra, or a fox does eat a rabbit. So in these worlds, these characters have a right to be scared of bigger animals, carnivores, predators, whatever. So I just don't understand how that kind of like matches up to the real world. I just don't think it's a great metaphor to use, or great symbolism. I say the same with Elemental, where it was the fire girl or the water guy fell in love with the fire girl, and it's just like, no, you guys can't be together. Well, in their world they can't be together. And it's like, spoiler alert, they did end up together, but that just, they cancel each other out. So it's like, in their world it is almost impossible for them to be together, versus the real world. I think a better representation of these type of stories, like if it's animals, is not necessarily the rabbit is profiling the fox or the wolf. I think a better representation is if all of the animals were rabbits, and maybe there were black rabbits and there were white rabbits, or there were rabbits who are groomed and are in rich families versus the ones that are out in the forest. Like, that's a better representation than what they're showing in this series. And so I think the difference between Zootopia and this, really there's a lot of differences, but I think the main difference is, I could have swore in Zootopia the carnivore animals kind of like drank something or ate something that made them not want to eat rabbits or prey or whatever, and there was somebody meddling with them and making them turn back to their natural instinct. Versus this, like, I was kind of confused about this, but it's like, on the campus, even though wolves off of the campus eat whatever the hell they eat, on campus they don't, and they eat freaking egg sandwiches and stuff. So, but when they went off of campus, there were adults eating meat, and then this meat was on the black market and all this other BS. And I just, that to me is like, okay, so these guys still need to eat, like, realistically, they still, a tiger, a lion, a wolf, a bear, or whoever, needs to eat a lot of protein and meat, but they're not allowed to for whatever reason. I mean, it makes sense because they are mingling with their prey, and especially if that's still in them, then I understand a sheep being scared of a damn wolf on their campus, So just in general, I just don't really like the way that metaphor is delivered when animals are used, and the same with, elemental or whatever. But that was like my biggest thing. Like you're literally, there's animals on this campus who are literal mice. They can literally just get stepped on by a bear. Like, it's not even being eaten, just stepped on. So it makes sense that they would be scared for their life while they're on this campus. Another issue I had was similar to the criticism around the show Euphoria on HBO. For me, when I saw these characters in school and that they were in dorms, I assumed that they were college age. But then I forgot what the deer character, I think he's like a senior or a junior, and he was like 18. I'm like, okay, so he's one of the oldest students here, and he's 18. That means a bunch of these students, like, this is high school basically. But I read, I forgot what type of school they called it, but it's kind of like it's high school, but they live in dorms. And that's when I was like, okay, like, this is crazy. Even though the rabbit character, I need to get their names, wait, hold on. And so their ages, so Haru, the bunny or the rabbit, she was, I think, 18, at least from where the series started, or at least season 1 started. But I will say, I mean, I think overall I'm already like a super chill person. I don't know if you would call it liberal or not. I didn't really care about it being animated, them being animals, and some of the stuff that was going on. But then when you kind of see that it's like high school, it gets a little weird. But I don't want to be a hypocrite, because honestly, when it comes to Euphoria, I don't really have an issue with it being in high school, because I'm just like, high school kids do this. They are on drugs sometimes, they drink, they have sex. So we can say the same with this show, but it's kind of pushing it. It's kind of pushing it, okay? Like, it's animated, it's animals, there's some adult themes, and then they're underage. So that's when and that wasn't really till the end that I was like, oh, so that was something that I was a little about. How many times do you have to lock your damn car? So another con that I had was, at least with this first season, was the ending. All that stuff, if you've seen this show, all the things that transpired, that big moment that transpired towards the end of the series was just entirely too much for me. I was just like, what is this? This is a whole nother show now. Like, it went from this to this. And I don't know, I mean, I'm guessing that it was supposed to represent Legoshi's character really breaking through and kind of using his natural instinct to save this person. But to me, it was just too much. I was just like, what are we doing right now? So I mean, it's one thing if that's how the show started off, but it just, to me, took a left turn. As far as my pros, I felt like the animation looked really, really good. I loved the mixing of the different mediums, and kind of like the humor, how you go from, with the show, sometimes it'd be like the regular anime to this very like cartoony anime drawing of the characters once in a while. I guess another medium was when we would see the inside of Legoshi or his mind or whatever. Not gonna lie. Now, I guess we can just get into things that were going on in the show and the things that some people don't like or are critical about. But the whole, these characters having sex or whatever, which, first of all, at the end of the day, they didn't really show anything. They really just, it was really just implied. Of course, there is this scene with Haru's character where we see a lot of her body, but a lot of it was implied. But I for the most part don't have a problem with that. I think when I originally saw it, it did throw me off, and I actually have forgot about it when I went to watch it again. I was like, whoa, but I just went through with it. I didn't really get uncomfortable that much. I mean, there were parts where I'm just kind of like, oh, but for the most part, I can watch anything. I really don't care. So, but Legoshi, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if that this is considered being a furry, but it's like, I thought he was cute, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not even somebody that gets into fan fiction or animated characters in general. The last time that I had a crush on animated characters was when I was a kid, and ironically they were all like animal characters. It was always like the characters who had their hat backwards. I want to say Max, but I feel like I'm lying, but I think it was Max from Goofy Movie. I know for sure it was Kit from Tailspin. And I had a weird one with King from Tekken, which technically is just a man with a leopard mask on, a very realistic leopard mask on. And I was reminded of another one. It was a real person though, they were still animated though. I can't. Oh, Rocket Power, Twister. Something came up on Rocket Power. I was like, Twister. Twister was another one. But Twister was a human versus Kit, Max, or whatever. But that's the last time. But watching this, I actually thought Legoshi was cute. I just liked his mannerisms. He kind of reminded me of Wiz Khalifa for some reason. But like I said, I have nothing against people who do get into the fan fiction and get into having crushes on anime characters and animated characters and fictional characters. I've had crushes on fictional characters as an adult, but yeah, I didn't really like. I thought Legoshi was kind of cute, but that doesn't mean that I'm diving deep into some fan fiction or imagining myself with him. That's not going down. So I will say, while I was watching it, when I got to maybe like the middle of the season, I was thinking, like, if I end up talking to somebody about anime and I bring this up, some people might think some things, and I really don't care, but I'm like, this is one of those shows that is like, there's like kind of a niche there, and there's kind of like, if you've seen it before or have heard about it, it can bring up certain opinions. Once I got through the middle of the series, I was just like, oh, people probably judge people who really like this show or get into it. But for the most part, I thought it was good. I just started season 2. I don't know where we're going because we still haven't found out who unalived the sheep character. I forgot his name. Oh, the last thing I did want to say with the pros that I liked was so if we do get into the metaphor possibly of the carnivals being black people or people of color, I'm sure it could be anything, but I kind of go towards that of black people, people of color. I do think I did see parallels between like Legoshi's character and him suppressing like his primal instinct, whatever, not necessarily primal, but suppressing things to maybe like men of color, and I think across the board, men and women, but men of color and black men, and not to be like, okay, black men are primal and all that stuff, but more so like that balance of surviving in this world and moving through the world as a black man, of, you know, like for instance the police or whatever, like even if you're upset or this police officer is harassing you or anybody's harassing you, you can't go full, you know, anger mode, or even like sometimes stand up for yourself without dealing with consequences compared to non-black people. And so I kind of felt that with Legoshi's character of him, like obviously he did have that instinct that if it came out, that primal part of him, that if it came out, he would wreak havoc on probably the animals that are there, the rabbits and whoever. But just playing it safe, you know, going through life like, okay, I can't really be my full self because it can be seen as a danger. And that's why I don't like the metaphor, because it actually is dangerous in this world versus the real world. And specifically like with a black man, it's not like you could just go around necessarily acting like everybody else because you're not treated the same way as everybody else. And the same with, I'm seeing Lewis, the deer character, like also seeing him kind of struggle because he gave like carnivore energy. Okay, he gave that energy, because sometimes I was forgetting that he was a deer, just the way that he, you know, carried himself. But he carried himself that way because he was a deer. And I think he, you know, in a way was like envious of Legoshi and stuff. It's like, you are a predator and you're not walking around like a predator. You're walking around like a prey, like you're scared. And so with him, Lewis, it seems like he had to be twice as much. Now, again, I don't know what that would represent in the real world. Some of those parallels I got, as well as with Haru's character, with the rabbit character, on the opposite end of her being prey and her feeling like she's not worth anything, and that kind of ties in the way that she was acting while she was on campus, unfortunately, even to the point that when she was about to lose her life, it's like she didn't really care, because she just is on the bottom of the totem pole in this world, and she kind of moved like that as well, which was sad. So anyway, so my camera's about to die. Tell me your thoughts below. If you like the series, if you've seen season 1, season 2, if you read the manga, what you specifically think about this metaphor, but also the more adult themes that are going on. If it makes you uncomfortable, if it doesn't, if there's a character you thought was cute, you were kind of into, you know, and comment below. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and see you next time.